if we were to take a high-powered microscope and beam it on your hand or any other part of your body, at first we would see cells. And all of the apparent solid structures that make up the hand. And if we were to turn up the magnification and go deeper into the cells of the hand, we would begin to see the different components that make up a cell, the cell wall, the fluid within the cell, the various structures, that make up the cell's interior, the nucleus of the cell, the mitochondria, the ribosomes. And then if we were to take this high-powered microscope and turn up the magnification even more onto one of these structures, we would begin to see that they are made up of molecules, that everything is made up of molecules, specific molecules. And then we begin to see that the molecules are made up of atoms, specific atoms, things that we call carbon and hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen. And all the minerals that we'd find there, the calcium, the iron, the chromium. And then if we went into an atom, we would see that it's made up of a nucleus that has electrons spinning around it. And then we'd also see that there are vast, vast areas of space between the nucleus and the electrons. And we would begin to understand and see for ourselves that the human body is actually mostly, if not all, space. Energy, if you will. As unbelievable as it is, there is nothing solid about a human body. Any quantum physicist will tell you this. Eventually, if we go deep enough into physical matter, all that we perceive are yawning chasms of empty space. You are just energy that has solidified into the shape of you. So as you sit here, can you feel your solidity? And at the same time, can you feel the spaciousness within you? It coexists. And the reason we feel solid is that our human senses are able to pick up this particular density of energy. And one thing is for sure about energy, it likes to move. Energy gets set into motion. It expresses itself. It completes itself and then it returns back to stillness. And as an energy body, you have been set into motion at the beginning of your life. You are expressing yourself. And eventually, your energy will return back to nothing, which is also everything. The vast ocean that you came from, you return to. Energy is happiest when it is in motion. And the physical structures that we call the human body is healthiest when energy is flowing freely. And so as you sense your own system right now, you may sense areas that seem open and fluid, and other areas that seem a little less so, and sometimes a lot less so. As we experience life, the experiences give rise to reactions in our bodies that we often call emotions. And when these emotions are given permission to arise from nothing, to express themselves, to complete themselves, and to return back to nothing, the system returns to a state of ease. But when we have an experience and an emotion arises, and for whatever reason that emotion is not completely felt, it gets locked in the body and continues a circular pattern. Protected by beliefs, creating areas of stagnant energy, of blocked energy, of dense energy. There are many reasons why emotional energy might get locked in the system. One is, as children, maybe we're not encouraged to completely feel our emotions. Maybe our parents or the people around us are not comfortable with certain emotions, and so they're either ignored or they're suppressed, and as we observe the people around us suppressing emotions, we learn to do the same. Sometimes we're even shamed for feeling our emotions, and that too will cause areas of dense, contracted energy in our bodies. And even as I'm speaking about this, you may, if you keep your attention on your body, you'll notice areas of denser emotional energy rising into your awareness. The spiritual path, the authentic path, path of evolution, the path of awakening, is very much about freeing up blocked energies. And every holistic therapy is all about freeing up blocked energies. Whether you're seeing an acupuncturist who's putting needles in to free up the meridians in the body, whether you're taking a homeopathic remedy, which is just a vial of energy meant to counteract whatever energy pattern is happening in your system, whether you're doing a yoga class with twists to open up the solar plexus chakra, or back bends to open up the heart chakra, or headstands to open up the crown chakra. It's all about freeing up energy. Even diet and nutrition is about freeing up energy. The cleaner the diet, the less other people, animals, and the planet have suffered in order to get the food to your plate, the higher vibration, the higher energy flow, the more vitality, and then what you take in becomes what you are. So even as I'm speaking here, many of you will begin to feel areas of pressure in your body. And the most important thing to do when you feel areas of denser energy, of pressure, of tension, is to not try to control it in any way. What keeps these energies in place is our resistance to them. When energies come to the surface, it's because they want to be freed up. They want to dance their way out of your system. And they know the dance already, that you don't need to tell them what to do. So the more that you can just get out of the way when you feel these uncomfortable energies rising up, the more you can just soften and allow and just be in stillness while you watch the dance, while you allow it to be as it is, the more elegant the process will be. That being said, it does take some tolerance and it does take some courage, because the unwinding of the human energy body is not always comfortable. But it's necessary. It's like the foot that falls asleep when you're meditating. You know that in order for it to feel comfortable again, you need to stick your leg out, and that for 30 seconds or a minute it's going to feel uncomfortable as it thaws out. But you know that the end result is a return to the normal sensations in your foot. And it's the same thing with the energy body. As it begins to thaw out in the light of our awareness and the light of our meditation practice, within the container that we've created, there is a thawing out. There's a collective thawing out. And our willingness to be present with what is arising in waves over and over again, and to just let go of control, to soften, to surrender, to trust, allows these energies to find their way out, to free themselves. Which then gives greater freedom and flow to the whole energy body. And all of these blocked areas of energy are like veils sitting over your soul. prevents you from seeing who and what you truly are, and prevents you from expressing who and what you truly are. And so as these energies lift, we discover aspects of ourselves that have been hidden, sometimes most of our lives. Qualities, gifts, talents, abilities, interests, values. The perfection of who we are is already here. It's really just a question of removing the layers that are veiling. It's as simple as that. But it's not easy, because it requires a willingness to go to places that have been locked down by fear in the first place. And so often as we do this work, fear is our companion, it's there. As we push into our edges, fear is there. So if you thought that spiritual work was all angels and violins, think again. But in a way it's a relief, because that's been your experience anyways. It's hard work. But once your soul says it's time to do the work, there's no choice. And at the same time, there's a joy in the constant unfolding. There's a joy in settling into what is. There's a joy in listening deeply. There's a joy in living in truth. So I would invite you to take your attention to the place in your body where you're feeling the most tension right now. And then just turn your gaze there. Turn your awareness there. And ask yourself, is it true that I should not be feeling this right now? Is it true that I should not be feeling this right now? In other words, is there any way that you could possibly know that what is arising right now in this moment is not the next layer of veil that needs to be seen and set into motion and released? That whatever is arising right now, even though it might be challenging, perhaps it is simply an energy that's been buried for a long time that is now liberating itself. Is that possible? And by answering that question, there is a willingness to let go of trying to control it, to let go of trying to manipulate what you're feeling. There's a willingness to just let it be. And you may begin to recognize for yourself that everything that arises, pleasant and unpleasant, is sacred. And So can you be still and allow everything that's arising to come and to go in its own time, in its own way? Can you trust the intelligence of your energy body, which only has your best interest in mind, which has your evolution in mind as well as your coevolution with every other being that inhabits this planet and beyond? There's a deep thawing out happening in these days, a deep thawing out. And for those of us who choose to stay conscious, who choose to stay awake, it takes great courage to stay on the path, to stay the course, even when things get challenging. Because the challenges, we trust, are the next doorway into deeper freedom, deeper inner knowing, so that we can evolve into a living update of ourselves. To truly let go of old patterns that are no longer serving us and maybe never really served us, that were just protection and armoring when we didn't have any other tools available to us. Soften your belly. Relax your shoulders. And do your best to keep your heart open. Notice wave after wave of energy rising to the surface of your consciousness. Shine the light of your awareness on it. Allow it to be as it is. And just rest as stillness. There's nothing you need to do. The energy is already programmed with the ability to unwind itself. And make no mistake about it. The energies that you're feeling in your body, the person beside you might be feeling, these are collective energies. They're not just our own. They've been here for generations. They're shared by many aspects of society. And because we're energy beings, we feel them. We pick up these vibrations, we resonate with them. Since all is one, how could it be any other way? So I would invite you to do an energy clearing breath with me. Imagine that you have nostrils in your tailbone and you're pulling the breath up through your tailbone, up through the center of your body. This is the central column of the energy system. And then as you exhale, the breath leaves through the crown of the head and it rises up like a fountain, several feet, and then it falls back down towards the earth. And then you inhale and you draw that breath back up through the center of the body. And you allow it to pick up any energies that no longer serve you on its way through. As it passes through the major energy centers as well as the connections between them. And then you exhale and the breath rises up, carrying these energies and bringing them back down towards the earth, which transmutes them, transforms them, and is happy to do so. So again, allowing the breath to rise up through the tailbone, up through the central column, out through the top of the head, cascading all around you and falling back down to the earth. And you can imagine that as the breath passes through the central column, it's picking up all of the colors of the rainbow. Red and orange and yellow and green, sky blue and indigo, violet. And so you're exhaling a rainbow-colored fountain of iridescent light. If there's any area in your central column that feels tight, feels to be quite a bit of throat in the room today, so just let that rainbow breath brush by that area ever so gently, picking up, encouraging it to soften, carrying it up and out.